Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. For those of you who do not know who I am retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I am the co-author of the best-selling book, Life's Real Currency, with my husband, Michael Sanchez. And just a little teaser, we have another book coming out soon, so stay tuned. And I bring you these Military Mondays every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. And I like to interview some veterans that have their own business or spouses that have their own business or have been successful. And I am super honored this morning that I got the CEO of Banner Season and the Director of Possibilities. I think that's what he calls himself. Director of Possibilities at Cash Mediaworks, yes. Joe Kenemore. Joe is a very good friend of ours, a very dear friend of ours, and we got talking in Vegas recently because that's where Joe's from. And we had breakfast, and I got to learn a little bit about Joe's background and his Navy experience. And so I wanted to bring him on today to share with all of you. So thanks so much for joining us today, Joe. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm flattered and humbled to be here, Deb. Absolutely wonderful experience. Let's do this thing. I got a little energy this morning. It's early.
Yeah, yay. But military has energy in the morning, right?
Well, I didn't used to, but I do now. I found out that, I like the mornings when somebody tells me I don't have to wake up.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background. I believe it was it 1984 you went into the Navy? Is that what I remember?
I did. Yeah. I remember the day, June 24th, 1984. I went to boot camp, Orlando, Florida, to the heat, the weirdness that I was like, where the heck am I? Yes. But in the end, I enjoyed every bit of it.
Cool. And what did you do in the Navy, Joe?
I was a visual communicator. I was the guy that light and semaphore or Morse code and then semaphore and, flags, that kind of stuff. Communicated visually from ship to ship. It was probably still is one of the only most secure ways to communicate, even though the job doesn't even exist anymore.
But today you're still communicating. You're still in the communications.
Yes.
Just a different form of communications with media and of course with Banner Season. So what set you on that path? I know that you had quite a story you told me at breakfast one morning in Vegas about your experience and then getting out. So share what you learned in the military or how that set you up for success today.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if there's any veterans watching this, I think they'll all resonate with this one thing, that when you're in the military, you know exactly where you fit in the armed services. When you get up every day, I mean, in the Navy is probably different than, other branches, but I think there's some similarities. There's no doubt about it. We muster, we talk about what's going on today. In the Navy, we had a plan of the day, the POD, and it included what we were having for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the midnight meal, and, the whole thing. But, what our mission was, where we were. And I look at this one thing and go, okay, I was a part of the communications department, the operations division of the USS Albert David, which was a part of Destroyer Squadron 21 and the 7th Fleet of the United States Navy, right? And what our job was to protect these international waters from thieves and all kinds of things. But to even further that, it was a Cold War. So, we were tracking constantly where the Russians were, where they were hiding their intelligence gatherers, and where the submarines were and the bears were flying over, that kind of stuff. But that whole thing resonates with me, that we all knew exactly what our job was, and then all of a sudden we're loose to the world. And where am I? Well, what am I supposed to be doing today? Who's got the plan of the day? What are we supposed to be doing here? And all of a sudden it's up to you. And luckily, we were taught that there's a lot more inside of us than what we thought. By the time you get done with some of those trainings and some of those things that you were pushed to do that you never thought you were possible, it was possible that you could do. all of a sudden, there was kind of a newfound possibility in life. Thus, the creator of possibilities.
I love it. And I love the way you said that because, even in my training, there were lots of things that I was like, oh, I can't do that. And then you figure out that you can, and it makes you expand. And I didn't think about it till we were just talking now, or you were, that it makes you expand your vision. And I don't think many military people that are in today truly understand that it's expanding their vision and what that does for them on the outside, especially if they want to have their own business. So,
Absolutely. Well, not and then you even go take it a step further, and you've got this multi-millions of dollars worth of equipment in the hand of a 19-year-old. Somebody trusted me with that, and I trusted myself to pick it up and use it and not break it. There were a lot of delicate things around the ship that could get broken pretty easily. They were really expensive, and then some not so expensive stuff. But you just look at that too, and it gives you kind of they trust you. There's trust. They're at the age of 19. Where else do you get that trust? Where else does somebody instill that into you? Certainly good parents do. But I don't know how many good parents are out there that are willing to, hey, here's the keys, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think too many of those are going on, are they? Yeah.
So you
Well,
got out.
I did, and honestly, I remember that day like yesterday. My wife wanted nothing to do with me leaving the military. There was certainly a lot of security in that.
Yes.
That check was going to show up no matter what. And of course, I had figured out by that time that there was something about being told what to do every day by somebody who didn't have near the intelligence that I did. I just kind of went, okay. And of course, the good thing about the military is, well, they're only going to be around for so long. They'll be shipping off to a new duty station, or you will, so no problem. But I got out and I had nothing to do. I was just kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do with myself? And I had two brothers that were repossessing cars. And they were like, you got to come check this out. This is an adrenaline rush like you never had before. And I'm like, doesn't sound very inviting. So anyway, eventually they convinced me to come play this game with them. And I did. I happened to be the only repossessor in San Diego County that wore a tie. So there was this thing that started happening to me, like Mercedes-Benz credit went, oh, we want that guy. No, the guy that wears the tie out collecting our cars for us. And then all of a sudden GM went, oh, but we want him doing just our higher end cars, the Cadillacs and the Corvettes and that stuff. So all of a sudden I was kind of known as that guy who would go out and wear a tie and knock on somebody's door in the middle of the day and say, hey, you haven't talked to the bank in like 6 months. You think we could get something done here today? Because you got two choices. It's either your keys or, you're going to call somebody right now. One of the two. Not too strong arm, but, when you had to do it, you had to do it. But it was a very interesting job, to say the least. I used a lot of the skills I had from the military. Not only did I use those skills there, but in that process, I had a lot of friends that were Navy SEALs, and one of them's call name ended up to be Repo, because right after he got done with Buds, we had met, and we had this, wonderful life together, just out, playing in the wilderness and four-wheeling and all kinds of stuff. I watched him deploy, several times. But I taught a lot of them how to pick a lock. It's an important skill that they needed, and I had no idea. I'm like, wow, okay. Anyway, yeah, had quite a bit of fun with that job for sure. But when you don't know what you need to do to feed your family, and all of a sudden you're thrust into the world outside of the military, I guess you just do what you got to do.
You figure it out.
Kids and a wife, and I'm like, all right, nobody else is working here, so I'll do whatever it takes.
Yep. And that's one of the attitudes generally. Not all military members have that attitude, but most do.
Right.
Because that's what we're trained to do, is you do what it takes.
That's right.
To get the mission done. So after repossessing cars, where did that take you?
Well, I ended up in St. George, Utah, of all places. My mother-in-law had a home. She just said, you know what, if you can make the back payments and take it over, please do. And Well, I sold a classic car and a couple other things, and we just moved the family to Southern Utah. And all of a sudden, here I am working for a software company. I mean, this is pretty far stretch from where I was. And the software company, they developed 3D animation and special effects software, where some of my love for video started. I mean, truly started at that point, in the early 90s, making things move on a screen and being able to animate something. And by the time I had finished there, I didn't last long at jobs. There was something about them. I just kind of wear them out. I figured out I was unemployable after the second job. I'm like, gosh, I'm not very good at this. People telling me what to do, when to show up, how much I'm going to get paid, when I can go on vacation, what my benefits package looks like, and just all this stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I love y'all, but I'm just kind of not cut out for this very well. But I had a great, little 2-3 year jaunt there. By the time I was done, I was teaching to people from Hollywood who would show up to learn these software packages in this small little classroom with 21 computers. But what a great experience I had there. Companies called Strata 3D. They still exist to this day in St. George, Utah. They still have great software. I still use it occasionally when I have the need. But it was just a great experience. And that company was owned by 2 Air Force brats.
Oh,
So
wow.
they fell in love with me rather quickly. There was no, let's just say there was no BS in my talk. So I was walking the walk, doing what I had to do to get the job done, and a whole bunch of other people kind of wandering around, half of them trying to figure out how to get a bigger check for doing less work, and me just trying to figure out how to get the job done in a better way.
Well, and most military are attracted to other military. It's a community. It's they know when you're out in the workplace, it's that they're hard workers for the most part. And so for those that are out in the workplace, or if you have a business of your own, uh, military is a great resource because they tend to be very dedicated, very hardworking.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the one, I look at prior military members and I want to work with them. I don't care what branch, I'll poke fun of other branches, but I don't care. I know one thing, that, about 99% of everybody who has done a stint in the military, they know how to wake up in the morning, get dressed, and get somewhere on time. And they have just beaten half of America at that point, probably half of the world, at that point, because they actually they care. They
Yes.
care. It was instilled into them that is a value that you have to carry with you. Go ahead. Don't show up to muster late one morning. Let's see what happens.
It's
I'm not
not a
your,
pretty sight.
I'll let somebody else do that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been hungover standing in ranks a few times, like, oh, I can't believe I made it here, but I'm here. Yep.
So from there, obviously, I believe that's when you started Cash Mediaworks, right? After.
I did. I was with that software company when I started Cash Mediaworks, honestly, just as kind of a pipe dream. And then I used it to basically buy toys. I would do animation jobs. I did an animation job for the guy who invented the liposome technology, or the technology that delivers medication through the skin. And that just had happened right there in the early 90s. And I had happened to work with him at a network marketing company. And, I was just starting to earn the side money. And I'm like, wow, I can buy a computer now. Boy, I could go buy a camera too. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden, all these toys start showing up. And eventually, it turned into 1099 income that was, I was able to keep some money and to help support the family with some of the extra things we were doing. But truly, it was still kind of a side gig. I still didn't really know I was unemployable yet. But my next job really said, hey, Joe, this might not really work out for you.
Oh, and what was that, Joe?
Well, there was 2 more. I went to work for a network marketing company for 2 years. And I did so well with them. And I loved every bit of that job, with the exception of the pay. They just couldn't pay me. And by that time, I had 5 kids. So let's just say that, yeah, me and the wife were called breeders, and we did a pretty good job of it. So, but we had 3, and then, there was an accident and there were twins. So
Oh,
3 to
wow.
5 went pretty quick. And there were 3 in diapers at one point too. So, but yeah, I worked for that network marketing company and really enjoyed them. I was their employee of the year. They loved me. I still hear from them to this day. 20
Awesome.
some odd years ago, Polynesian family, and I love the Polynesian culture and everything about them, especially their food. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Then, I left there and I doubled my salary, a little more than double my salary overnight to be an executive producer for a company down in Las Vegas. So I moved the whole family. All of
Wow.
a sudden, things got a little easier income wise. But then I was started to ask to do some questionable things, like, I built a small division of about 5 million in revenue with about 30% left on the table at the end of the year, and some of the other parts of the company weren't doing well. And as you know, from being in the military, you're a team player first,
Right.
always. I'm here for the team. And they start asking me to ask my whole division to take time off without pay. And I'm like, okay, sure. Let's do this. We can all, pitch in to help the company. And then all of a sudden it happened again. And I'm like, okay, now we're not on the same page.
Yeah.
We don't do that twice in a year for the successful part of the company that's providing revenue to some of the failing parts of the company. And I had $7,000 in my bank account and I left. And I said, I'm
Wow.
done. It's all over. I'm going to go find something else to do, which I knew really was Cash Mediaworks at that point. My abilities with a camera had taken on some new meaning. I really I never stop. If there's a skill I need to learn to further me, to further my life, my family's life, I just don't stop. I really am kind of relentless when it comes to that. And I just I took a camera and learned how to use it. And I literally made well over a 6-figure income my first year. But I kind of felt like I burned my ships in the harbor too, because I had no other place to go. It was a weird, economy back then. And I just went, okay, I'm just going to do this because I know I can do it. So get out of my way. This is what I'm doing. Yeah, of course, the wife in the corner going, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, I'm positive. Yeah, 1,000% at this point. So yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty scary to own your own business, and it's you that creates the consistency in the paycheck.
Right.
And if you don't go to work,
Right.
there's not a paycheck.
Right.
When you own your own business, like Cash Media Works,
Right.
which then took you over what, a year and a half? How long have you been with Banner Season, Joe?
January of last year. So yeah, about a year and a few months, year and 3 months, 4 months. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's been
And
an amazing ride.
And I've been in network marketing, as most of the viewers know, maybe you don't know, been in network marketing for over 8 years. And, it's nice to be able to go to work, or if you can't go to work because you're sick or you need to take care of family, that the paycheck still keeps coming in.
Yes.
It's I
Yes.
love network marketing. And so tell us a little bit about Banner Season and
Yeah.
what you're doing now, and how you stumbled upon Banner Season.
Yeah, well, I'm going to back up just a hair because I want to talk about one thing. A lot of people think that network marketing is the only way to get residual income. The truth is you need to build something duplicatable,
Right.
is what it really boils down to. Because today, I survive from Cash Media Works. That's my income, but I don't do anything. I don't show up. I'm not making phone calls. I'm not selling anything. I built a duplicatable model that I was able to step away from. And that is exactly what network marketing is. You have to build a duplicatable model that you can eventually step away from and go, okay, look, they're duplicating and growing and duplicating and growing. And if you're not duplicating and growing, you're never going to make it. And I don't care if you're in traditional business or network marketing. So, network marketing, this Banner Season thing, I lost my wife about, it's been a couple years plus ago. And I really had thrown my last pity party. I think it was about November, and went, okay, you're done. It's over. It's time for you to get back on this horse and do something with yourself. And I kind of I hadn't been working at Cash Media Works for quite a number of years because I took care of my wife. I didn't have anything, didn't really have any, it wasn't drawing me back. And then I had a couple of friends approach me and go, hey, not sure if you're interested or not, but we're doing this thing over here called Banner Season. And I'm like, tell me a little bit more. And all of a sudden, I'm like, well, that really resonates with me. And that's something I can sink my teeth into. And it really is, a powerful tool. And the biggest thing for me was I wanted to help entrepreneurs. I knew what it was like to grow and build a business without a tool like that. The tools that I had used back in the day were yellow page ads, and magazine ads, and anywhere where I could get an ad is where I would put it. And it was all print. And then this digital era came along and I was lost along with most of the other business owners out there. And pretty soon it was like, yeah, okay. What am I supposed to do? And banner season answered so many of those questions for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, young, just business owners, small business owners, that it just made a lot of sense to me. For me, it wasn't about money. It was about community, and it was about what can I offer a community of people who need this help. And that's where, it came to be that banner season was my horse. Let's go get on this thing because I know a whole lot of folks that I can help in this day and age.
And you're a wealth of knowledge. Mike and I have spent some time with you in Vegas and lots of time on the phone and that, and we've learned so much from Joe. He's a wealth of knowledge, an amazing photographer too. We've been to his studio there in Vegas, and the photography is just incredible.
Yeah.
In wrapping up, what I'd like you to do is, if you would, is talk to the viewers, anybody who's currently in the military, or maybe they've just retired and they're in that floundering stage like you were. What words of advice would you have for them today?
Oh boy. Find something you can sink your teeth into. Find something, that rock that you can grab a hold of. Find that company that has a system that you can work, a product that resonates with you. Just find peace, in a place that you can, that not only can you make a living, I was going to say survive, but that's not what it is. You want to live, you know what I mean? It's time to live. The military days are quite different, when you're up at dark 30 and, sometimes, you got the mid watch from, 11:45 p.m. to 3:45 a.m. Tell me a few of you haven't had that watch, because I had plenty of them. Okay. Yeah. So, wearing a weapon, and dealing with the constant, barrage of trainings and tests and things that you're always put through to this world is quite a bit different. So, it's really time to find something that really resonates with you, that you could sink your teeth into and have fun with. And I look at banner season and just go, we've created that environment. We're a customer engagement platform. We send things to people, packages that make them smile. And I'm not sure what other company does that, but we really enjoy it here. And we just teach, business owners, small business owners, that, hey, listen, your customers are about the most important thing you have. And it's a whole lot cheaper to keep them than it is to go find new ones. So let us help you, with those relationships and how you treat your customers right now, and make it easy for you, because we all know we should be doing it. The question is how, and that's what we do.
Right. I absolutely love the system. As you know, I happen to be a builder in banner season, and absolutely love it. My husband and I, and we're just honored to have you as a mentor and a friend, and really appreciate you taking the time to come on my Military Mondays today, and look forward to many more conversations, and maybe, because there's no way we could cover it all in one, maybe we'll bring you on again in a little bit, and we'll do another one of these and cover some more.
That sounds like fun. I would like to let your audience know one thing, that, Michael and Brenda really are our number one builder. And I believe it's because of where they came from. They never stop. They're relentless. There ain't no quit in them. There's no can't do hat they can wear. It just doesn't exist anywhere in their world, just like the rest of our veteran friends out there. So, if you're looking for something, reach out to Brenda and just let her know what you're looking for, because she does have a system, and she'll teach you that system and how to duplicate and how to find, some of the things that you're looking for.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And for all of my viewers, if you have your own business and are a veteran, or if you're the spouse of a veteran, I would love to hear from you and potentially maybe interview you here on my Military Mondays. If you would like to stay connected with me, I'd love to stay connected with you. If you go to militarymondays.info, so that's militarymondays with an s.info, you can stay connected with me, and I can let you know about past shows and upcoming shows, so that you can stay plugged into Military Mondays. And with that, I look forward to seeing everybody here next Monday at 8 a.m. Mountain Time for Military Mondays. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.